basically I took all these ideas that I know and just took all of our social norms that we have, threw them out the window, started from scratch.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Author Adjacent, a show about the journey from hobbyist writer to professional author. I'm your host, Michael Vadney, and today I have returning guest, Kenneth Feller, author of The Outsiders of Orkland. Welcome back to the show, Kenneth.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's been a while.
It's forever. We haven't been talking all evening. Smoke and mirrors. Last time on the show, we had you on. We were talking about just yourself, your author journey, kind of just shooting the shit and whatever we felt like talking about. But this time, we have a specific topic that we're trying to dig into. And we are going to be going into character relationships, specifically a little bit into the intimacy of characters. And I was very curious, why did you pick this as the subject for your second interview?
Mostly because it's not a subject you tend to hear from two dudes. It's not something two dudes tend to talk about. It's like breaking down those barriers and making it an approachable topic. But also, I mean, there's other reasons as well, like my own experiences. Like, I am asexual, so I can bring my own understandings, like in order to learn about myself. I've kind of learned about the possibilities that are out there and the language used to describe those experiences. So that's kind of something I want to bring to the table. But it's breaking down barriers, putting my unique spin on this topic, which is typically female dominated. Let's be quite honest here. That it is like
that is
typically when you
true.
hear about people talking about relationships, it's usually chicks that are talking about this stuff, and it's like, it's just not one of those dudes subjects that we talk about. It's just breaking down those barriers and fresh.
Oh yeah.
And like the other thing too is like just these real experiences, putting them into writing. You have stronger characters, you have characters that feel real when you insert real experiences, and the best way to develop characters by showing the way they interact with each other.
Like you learn so much about characters when they are in the same room, and especially when they're in conflict or they are in intimacy. I think that's one of my favorite things is when you have two POV characters that have been going through their journey on their own for a while, and you, the reader, can see that they're coming closer and closer and that they're going to interact soon. And then when they finally do, you learn so many new things about both of them through the eyes of each of those characters. I love that. That's one of my favorite things in stories. You mentioned like talking about like intimacy and relationships and characters and stuff like that. If I recall from reading about like reviews and stuff for your book, there is actually an interesting component to the orcs in your story, correct?
Yes.
That is like influenced by all of this.
It is, yeah. So basically, I took all these ideas that I know and just took all of our social norms that we have, threw them out the window, started from scratch. So that's something I can kind of circle back to later. Just I've done a lot of reading, and I'm part of the ACE community, so we have our own language that we use to describe our experiences to each other, because we're all different. We all have like different experiences, and like a matter of like communicating. Okay, so these are your experiences with this set of like that's your experiences of your life with these people, with these sets of attractions, and it's different from these people. So I'm being a bit cryptic here, but I'll try and break things down. So, yeah. So, the way I see relationships is that you can break them down into, like, you've got the individual, so you got individual level, and then you've got the relationship itself, so the interaction between two or more people, and then you've got outside factors like the society, so how that relationship exists, because we don't exist in a vacuum. No one exists in a vacuum. It's communities within communities, and to people, family, friends, then society as a whole. So it's just bubbles within bubbles. And the other thing to note as well is everyone's experience is different, and everyone's experience exists on a spectrum of experiences. So I'll keep coming back to that. It's just spectrums upon spectrums. It's lots of blending and mixing. You can create great characters from these ideas, and then like relationships are just interactions of these different aspects of people. So on an individual level, so with characters, you're dealing with like wants, needs, feelings, and attractions. So there are masterclasses out there in terms of like characters' wants and needs. Like the whole the truth and the lie and all that sort of stuff. Masterclasses on that. I won't go into it because there are people that can describe that shit better than I could, and it's already out there. I'm just going to focus on my little niche bit of knowledge. So that would be the whole feelings and attraction side of things. So we, like, when I say we, I mean like the asexual community. We have like the language to describe our experiences tends to come back to the split attraction model. So these are 5 main ideas that like attraction can be boiled down to. So there is sexual attraction. So asexual people, they experience little to no sexual attraction. So that would be lust. So stirring of the loins and urges directed to specific people. So
different levels of spice.
Yes, spice is different because that would be the action rather than the attraction. So
rather than the desire. Yes.
Yeah,
okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So like sexual attraction is not the same as libido or sexual arousal. These are all different things. So it's like nailing down that language, and language is often where confusion happens. It's like getting the definitions right and stuff, and like this is where we start to be able to share ideas and experiences when we have like that set language. I'll keep coming back to that as well, because language is it's a big thing in my book as well, because I'm with my orcs, they have a different language, so they have some concepts are completely foreign to them, and therefore they do not have words associated with those ideas. So that's something that was kind of like drawn from my own experience. It's like having feelings or ideas and stuff and just not having words to associate to that, so not being able to communicate things properly. So these are all ideas that you can use to build characters. Going back to I keep running off and spilling off the
no, I'm distracting you. You can blame the host. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're doing the 5.
Alright. So the sexual attraction, you have romantic attraction as well, which is different from sexual attraction. So you have different levels of romantic attraction. So the initial attraction would be like a crush, and then that would develop into infatuation, and then you kind of go through this like rocky period where that you fall off that precipice of like your partner's everything about them's perfect and super awesome, and it's just all about these overwhelming emotions, all that sort of shit, and then you kind of get into that enduring love, that stuff that kind of you kind of taper out into that enduring, stable sort of you're able to function as a human again. It's like individuals but together at the same time. So so romantic attraction. And other form is platonic. So you have acquaintances and colleagues, friends, your ride and die buddies. So this is where like Samwise Gamgee comes into, those, Sam and Frodo. So you ride or die. So there is sensual attraction as well. So this is touch. So this is the sensation of contact, or to get a reaction, or from the other side of that is to get the having the attention of someone. This is where kinship comes into play as well. So kink, that is as a definition. Well, my definition maybe is adult play. So it's not necessarily sexual, could potentially lead to sexual stuff, doesn't have to. It can be its own thing. And following on from that would be aesthetic attraction. So aesthetic, so visual attraction, so someone's style, the way someone dresses, like I wear band shirts. I am more likely to be friends with another metalhead that's wearing, I don't know, like a Dying Fetus t-shirt or something like that. So I know, like, that is my person. So, like, I know that I'll most likely get on well with them because we have a shared interest. So,
So before we move on to the next point, though, I just want to make sure that we got all these right. We have romance. What's number 2 again?
So we got sexual attraction.
Oh, sorry.
Romantic,
sexual, romance,
platonic, sensual. So sensual is in touch, and aesthetic. Yeah.
Aesthetic. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please continue.
And aesthetic is one of those really difficult ones to describe, because usually when you describe just someone's visual someone's like physicality or whatever, people usually default to sexual attraction. But what about bodybuilders?
Yeah.
So like,
I actually think that's something interesting about all the ones that you were saying, specifically like romantic, sexual, and sensual all get grouped up by most people and are just considered sexual. So that's what I thought was very interesting so far.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're like. The AIDS community kind of splits these things up because everyone experiences these different things independently of each other. So you have like asexuals that experience romantic attraction and others that don't. So they would be aroace, and then you have aromantics that do experience sexual attraction. So it's like this weird mixed match sort of scenario going on. So this is one of those things that I do not see portrayed very well in books. So generally, it's just the asexual character is the person that lacks empathy, because they don't feel sexual attraction, they don't feel anything at all. So that's a load of bullshit. So do better, please.
Book community, come on.
There's other subsets as well. So intellectual attraction, so like geeking out over the same hobbies, or like just having that spark of interest when someone starts talking your subject. That is a form of attraction, but that could be associated with a platonic sense of attraction. So, because you acquaintance and colleagues, just like there's financial attraction as well. So that could be a subset of aesthetic attraction. So if you are financially well off, you tend to show it in the way that you present yourself. So your fancy watches or jewelry, your $1,000 shirts, or your Ferrari set you own, stuff like that. So that is potentially, I personally see financial attraction as a form of aesthetic attraction. So yeah, and as I was saying before, like sometimes these attractions can be just a big, messy fusion that's indistinguishable from each other. And for others, they are completely unrelated. So because people have these different understandings, you have conflicting ideas or miscommunications and all this sort of thing going on. The other thing to take note of is that sometimes one type of attraction will develop into another type of attraction, like sexual attraction can develop into romantic attractions, or romantic attraction can develop from sexual attraction. And it's kind of like there are, within the ace community, there are like micro labels that help us convey our experiences to other people. So there is a subset of aces called demisexual. So they
I've heard of that one actually.
So that they so a demisexual will not experience sexual attraction typically to strangers, but if they form an emotional connection first, so like platonic, if they experience platonic attraction with someone and they develop an emotional connection, then they will develop a sexual attraction to them. So that would be a demisexual. And then you heard the opposite, where like instead of developing a new type of attraction, you might lose a type of attraction or swap one out for another. So like phrasexual, this might be a new term for some people, but this is where people have sexual attraction towards complete strangers, and then when they get to know them, they develop that emotional bond. They lose that. So there'll be like a sexual attraction and then a platonic attraction kind of developing from that. And then, so in some circles, that is called a stranger kink. So, that's just...
I'm learning a lot of new terms today.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are terms that can be overwhelming, but it's just, everyone's different. Everyone experiences different stuff. And like language can help us share our experiences, but there is no right or wrong. It just is going to differ.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So all of these pieces that are coming together through these like different types of attraction and how they can swap between, and just these experiences that people have, is a lot of this what goes into informing like how your characters interact with each other and how certain societies interact in general within your story?
Yeah. So that's because that's my knowledge base. When I went into developing my characters, and whenever they interact with each other, that's always in the back of my mind, is what makes them tick, like how what are their experiences, how do they feel, what don't they feel. That's the other thing too, like it's kind of the next point that I kind of want to get into as well, with like the relationship itself, is when you've got these two individuals or two or more individuals with their own sets of attractions, when they interact with each other, like what is their expressions of intimacy. So they have these. I was talking about attraction, and then what is the actions? Like, how does their attractions influence their actions? So how do they express that their how do they express like wanting to be intimate, or when when you have a relationship that's formed, like what is their how do they express their intimacy for each other? So the most basic form of expressing intimacy is talking, dialogue. Again, this is one of those things. There are master classes out there which people can explain way better than I ever could. So just go and find a video where someone just drops truth bombs on like the dialogue. So yeah,
We could do a whole episode just on dialogue if we wanted to.
For sure. But so I'll just kind of skip over that. I will kind of circle back to communication because I mean it is important. But yeah, I mean that's something that everyone experiences. It's a very important part in storytelling. Other expressions of intimacy, food. Again, this is one of those things that's just universal. So like making food, sharing food. Romantic dinners, that sort of stuff. Food is a big part of our society, or any society. So, yeah.
We're very social around food. Food is like very important to human culture in general for a myriad of reasons, and intimacy is definitely one of them.
Yeah. I think Hello Future Me, does like an entire episode on food. I thought it was brilliant. So again, it's not just that; it's showing cultures and stuff through food as well. But anyway, that's kind of going off on a tangent. So I'll just try and keep focused. Again, like just on my kind of my ideas there. So
no worries, you're doing great.
Yeah. The other expressions of intimacy, games. So this could be, platonic stuff, or it could be flirtatious, So you could even bring that onto macro level as well. So like when you're dealing with cultures and societies and stuff like festivals. So that is going outside the scope of intimacy, I guess. Like whenever I talk about intimacy, I'm talking in terms of like the broadest sense of the term, not the euphemism where people say intimacy.
Not necessarily sexual intimacy. Yeah.
So I'm talking, whenever I talk about intimacy, I talk in the very dictionary definition of intimacy, which I should have written down, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. So
I am looking it up right now, and I'm about to read it off so that people know that this is more than just, we're talking more than just sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
Intimacy, very simply, is just a state of being intimate, and being intimate is just a state of familiarity. That's all it means.
Yeah. So, no euphemisms here, unless there is, and read as you would.
Sometimes there are, sometimes they're not. It's up to you to figure it out. But please, continue.
Yeah, okay. Gifts is another one. Again, it's one of those things that's not necessarily romantic. They could be platonic. We exchange gifts with families, with colleagues even. So that is a form of intimacy. And then you can kind of get nailed down into those finer forms of intimacy that kind of play into those attractions that we were talking about before. So, like dressing up nice. So, caveat there. So, like dressing up nice to appeal to your partner or to the opposite sex or something, totally is a thing. but at the same time, you need to be able to distinguish between whether that is actually for someone or if it's for themselves. So, like, when I walk down the street in my death metal shirts, do I have people yelling across the street, "Slut"? No. So I wear this for myself, just like, someone wearing a nice dress or something like that. I mean, they might just be wearing that for themselves because that's what they like to wear. So, not everything is about getting the attention of someone else or appealing to that aesthetic attraction of other people. So it's like understanding those distinctions, and also that can also be an idea for characterization as well, because sometimes you just simply have shit characters that assume that everything is about them and for them. So, yeah.
We're not writing noble bright over here. Not everybody is a goody two-shoe.
Yeah. So, yeah, just everyone's different, and everyone perceives things differently as well. Going back to the appealing to those other types of attractions, so sensual attractions, so you got your holding hands, kissing, cuddling, tickling, biting, spanking, all that. Again, kinky shit. That's because that's an interesting topic in its own. Maybe I'll get into that later. We'll see. And of course, sex, sexual attraction, sex as an action. So that can potentially be an expression of intimacy, and again, caveat for that as well. And
yeah, I feel like there's a lot of intention that matters here.
Yes, intention, and also acknowledging perspectives as well. So
yeah, because like you were saying earlier, when two people have to come together and they have those different kinds of attractions, they have those different ways of expressing that intimacy to each other, it kind of just becomes a negotiation of, these are my needs, these are your needs, and now let's negotiate how we're going to meet each other's needs. And kind of to just bring it back down to like literary for a second, I think one of my favorite examples of this is in the second era of the Mistborn books by Brandon Sanderson. There is Waxilium, and I can't remember her name. I think it's Eris, Esther, or something like that. And when they first meet each other, it's an arranged marriage, and it's just, they are not on the same page. But how they slowly negotiate their relationship, and it turns into this beautiful thing. No specific spoilers, but sorry if that's a little spoilers for some people, is one of the best examples I've ever seen of two characters negotiating that relationship together. It's so good. Mwah.
Yeah, that is very important. And like while we're talking about like expressions as well, it's I'd like to mention neurodiverse expressions. So you can have some very interesting and unique expressions within the neurodiverse community. So intro dumping is one of them. So I think that's something that a lot of people can relate with, but particularly with like autistic people, if they're comfortable with someone, they will just info dump, like, sit here and I'm going to talk at you for 45 minutes on this very specific subject, and they will just go for it. And that you can only really do that with someone that you're comfortable with. So that can be an expression of intimacy. Another one that can be unique to the community is parallel play. So that is where you occupy the same space. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, but I'm sharing this space with you. I feel comfortable being here with you, and I want to be here. That's like, just that is their way of expressing closeness. It's just like that physical proximity, even though you're not actually interacting with each other. It's just being and sharing each other's space. So yeah, I find these expressions interesting. Again, it's like a part of my community. Pebbling is another one. So
Pebbling, like
pebbling,
pebbles.
yes, like pebbles. So
Okay.
that is a term that's derived from penguin behavior. So penguins will gift their partners, their mates, with a pebble. They'll find a very nice shiny stone and gift it to their mate. So that is a behavior that some autistic people show or display. Is they sometimes it can literally be a pebble. It's like, I found this nice stone. I thought it looked nice. It made me think of you. Here you go. And it's just these little inconsequential gifts. I know of someone that, yeah, they were literal. They used to gift literal pebbles, but they'd paint them and then gift them to their special someone. So it's just a little quirky show of appreciation or intimacy that, yeah, it's just unique. So and non-verbal as well. So you get some people that have trouble expressing themselves verbally. So instead they'll like play music. So you might have people that their whole thing is they play piano or something like that. They might play the piano as an expression of intimacy for their partner. So you're playing a beautiful piece or something like that, and that's just the way they express, like, I appreciate you. Yeah. So not limiting yourself to just what's normal. Think, outside. There's, again, different experiences.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to express intimacy and attraction and favoritism of any kind.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, well, mentioned before, like perspectives. So like everyone has their own leanings towards various forms of expressions. So again, spectrums. So within the H community, we use the words favorable, neutral, and averse. So we're even with people that are asexual, you have sex favorable aces, sex neutral, and sex averse. So sex favorable, that's again, this is where we define between action and attraction. So sex favorable people would be, sex favorable asexuals would be aces that do not have sexual urges directed towards someone, but they do enjoy the act of sex. So for them, the act of sex is like better than rubbing one out. So again, this is one of those things you can mix and match. Think about soldiers on the front line. They might be completely isolated from women. You might have gay people in the army. You might have bisexual people in the army. You might have people that identify as straight within the army, but if a bear's hungry, they'll eat. So, better than rubbing one out, let's go. But they might not necessarily experience attraction towards someone, but the act itself is gratifying. So, again, the separation between action and attraction. So when those I would call those people. I mean, again, when it comes to identities, it's all about what people identify for themselves. But my perspective of that sort of behavior, where someone who identifies as straight, who is game to get down with another dude, I would call that hetero-flexible. So they might not be attracted to another dude, but they game either way because a bit is hungry. Then like if that person was to go back home, they are attracted to women, they would prefer to go for women. So they, straight, but maybe hetero-flexible just because they, they're down to clown, So it's, again, it's these different experiences, and just like breaking these barriers, and just taking away these assumptions. Just because it's a homosexual act doesn't mean that the person is homosexual. It's action, attraction, different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you heard of love languages?
Yeah. So kind of. Is this in terms of like a particular piece of media or something, or just the concept itself?
No. It's just this concept in like relationships and relationship therapy and stuff like that, where it's this idea that you can break down the way people's express intimacy or love in various ways. And there are 5 very broad subjects, and what you were talking about earlier reminded me of a lot of them, because like the parallel play, one of the situations is just quality time. We're near each other, we're spending quality time. Words of affirmation, communication, like you were saying earlier, physical touch, the sensation, like you were saying earlier, is another one. And then receiving gifts, so that kind of leans into like the wealth of what you're talking about. And then the other one that we haven't really gone into is called acts of service. And I do think there is space for that within what you were saying, and kind of what you're saying in the last one too, where it's the asexual favorable. Did I say that right?
So the sex favorable asexual. So that could be So that could be seen as like a. I'd say the whole.
Correct me if I'm getting that wrong.
Yeah, so I would say the whole service would be like you'd have sex neutral asexual. So these would be people that they don't experience the attraction. They might not necessarily enjoy sex, but they are willing to participate. And the reasons they might be doing that is because they see it as a service to their partner, or because they enjoy that time with their partner. So again, this is one of those things that's like there's all sorts of different reasons and perspectives, and absolutely, like the whole service. And that is another aspect that's kink. So like serving food and making a really nice meal, serving food for the partner, that can be that is a type of service, really. So I mean, something else that we've been talking about is like the emotional weight or importance of these expressions. So like what a form of expression for one person might not have the same meaning for another. So someone who doesn't experience one type of attraction may put more value into other types of relationships. So the expressions in a certain type of expression that might normally be associated with one type of relationship may not may be used for a different kind of relationship. So like aromantic people who do not experience romantic attraction, they might experience very strong platonic bonds, platonic attraction. Their friendships are very special to them, and they might have a friend that they have sex with, so that the act of sex with them does not have any sort of romantic weight to it, but it is just it is a way of connecting. It is a way of like could be seen as for a sensation, a shared sensation. It is a form of bonding. So again, these things come down to perspectives. The other thing to keep in mind is like what sort of ongoing commitments are expected. So you range from so you can range from transactional, just like just to get something done or for a sensation, and then ranging through to exclusive, where the whole idea between these intimate acts is for like closeness and to build trust. And like everyone gets different things out of even similar acts or behaviors and that. So I had mentioned kink before. There is a real like the way media presents kink or like BDSM, they show the extreme forms. So sometimes when you bring up kink or BDSM, people will just automatically associate that with this abuse and assault. But that's kind of as short-sighted as associating all sex with sexual assault. It's like, yes, it all exists on the same spectrum, but they are very different things. So in terms of kink, I find the psychology behind it fascinating. So like some people get something that's often portrayed in media is like the masochist. So they get the pleasure from the pain or the humiliation or inflicting those on other people. But also some people enjoy, they're in it for the catharsis. So the positive release of negative emotions. So like someone might endure a half-hour spanking session just to get the tears out, to get the crying done, and that kind of release is what they're after, rather than the actual pain itself or whatever. Sometimes it's just about feeling something. If you're feeling a bit numb to the world, you just want to feel something. Sometimes different types of play. Some people just want to lose themselves in the moment. There's like a psychological state called subspace. People just lose themselves in the moment. They just kind of turn to butter and are very receptive to commands. That's kind of like a hypnotic state almost. And that takes a lot of trust to be in that sort of state. So that can be a very, very intimate form of intimacy that is not necessarily sexual either. We were talking about service before, like power play, like that's another thing, like having that control. It's like sometimes people that are in their day-to-day lives, they might not have that control, but within a certain situation, they like having that control over someone else, and vice versa. Someone that has a lot of control in their life, sometimes they just want to switch off and be in that position, have that position of trust with someone where they can relinquish that control.
How does this all relate back to like your character creation and depicting that into stories?
Yeah, so this is like the expression, so like the way people are wired, the way they think, the way they the way that those characters interact with each other it can show a different side of them, makes the characters more three-dimensional or unique. So I kind of, even in my book, I kind of like take those ideas and like tweak them to varying degrees. And it just shows something different. Instead of showing the same old romantic relationship, sometimes you want to show something unique, give a different idea, show a different state of mind, or it's about creating unique stories. Yeah, well,
And exploring a different side of humanity.
yeah, exactly, and that's in these explorations, it's kind of like well, that's what reading's about. It's like kind of it's developing empathy for another state of mind or another state of being, and yeah, I mean these are things that aren't very. I mean, it might be more common within romance as a genre. I'm not sure. I don't read romance or romantasy, but again, these are just ideas I'm trying to like bring to a different crowd. So for just to keep in mind with character development and stuff. So yeah,
you're trying to bring it into stories beyond the ones that are just about
yeah,
romance and sexuality, and just having it be like a part of this adventure
yeah,
or this dark horror or something, just like all over the place.
yeah. Just yeah, adding that unique flavor, and sometimes that can be all the difference between a good story and a great story. It's just the characters, Yeah, and that other part of great character dynamics and stuff is the communication. So I think we were mentioning before, like sometimes misaligned needs or attractions doesn't mean that a relationship is incompatible. Like they can communicate, they can negotiate, and it's about talking about consent and boundaries and like having that language to be able to describe what your needs are. That's important too. So having like within a healthy relationship, that you're going to be like having these talks. You need that safe space. So like you don't necessarily need to show this within the story, but you can show the result of a communication. Sometimes you don't have to show everything on page. You can be, if you do show it on a page, for God's sake, like make it interesting,
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, some of the stuff what I'm talking about might seem very, it could potentially be dry or boring, but it doesn't have to be. It's all about execution,
Yeah.
Yeah. So within a healthy relationship, or think about the environment that they're in. Are they in a safe environment? Do they feel safe with the person that they're with? It's very important. The emotional state that people are in when they're talking, being free from distractions. I've heard of couples talking very sensitive subjects and like meeting in public places in their worst dressed attire. So like they'd go and talk to each other in like tracksuits, so they don't have like those physical sort of distractions. Yeah. So and also just being on level ground, like being receptive to someone else talking. So like ditching the power play. So you need to be on equal footing. So like if you're going to be displaying healthy relationships, these are the things that you want to keep in mind. But sometimes these things aren't very clear cut. So like honesty, isn't always easy because you need the right language to be able to communicate these ideas. So like, sometimes you need to acknowledge that this what I'm experiencing, what we're doing in my behaviors, this is all confusing shit, and I need time to self-reflect and like try to quantify what my wants and needs are, sort of thing. And
emotions and feelings are hard, especially when they're bubbling to the top, and you just feel like, okay, I need to pause a little bit.
and society can confuse things even further as well. So you got like society norms, and if you got someone that exists outside that norm, that can be very confusing as well. It's like, I'm supposed to be this way, but I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling something else. So I need to. Yeah, again, it's like having that language, and education is important with that. And again, with healthy relationships, it's using non-confronting language. So like things like accusations or demands, they need to go out. But like you still need to talk in terms of cause and effect. So like when you do this thing, I feel this way, or like in terms of actions, it's like if this thing happens, I'm going to need 10 minutes by myself, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
we could use more healthy relationships in fiction. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. But also, conflict drives a story. That's what makes the story interesting. And like conflict, you can have conflict internally and externally, and just like figuring these things out. It's all conflict, And yeah, going on from that, you can still toxic relationships, totally thing. You just take those ideas and just flip them on its head. So like dishonesty, manipulation, and coercion. Like I think one of the most fucked up moments in my book involves coercion, and if you don't do this shitty thing for me, something worse will happen. So, yeah, not necessarily within the scope of like a romantic relationship or whatever. It can be any sort of situation. Like again, I'm trying to keep things focused. I touched on it before, but society would be that other one as well. So just say that final things to round things up. So like, you're looking at norms, what's common, what's known. Again, I was talking about languages. If you don't know something, you don't get the language to express these things. What's acceptable, or in some shitty situations, what's enforced. Again, like sometimes you have these arranged marriages, you're expected to do these things, and like, is that going to work
by society and your family and everyone around you?
Yeah. You also, like within society, you have generational viewpoints. So the younger generation might have a different opinion about something than the older generation. And figureheads, elders, people that are looked up to in the community, do they create a culture of empathy and understanding, or do they push their own experience as the moral high ground? So sometimes morality can come into these things. It's like, this just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And sometimes, within society, people mean well, but they just give shitty advice because they just don't know any better. So again,
that is based on their own experiences, and unfortunately, their experiences have not been great.
Or just different. Sometimes it's not a matter of good or bad, positive or negative. It's just non-existent, not there. So all these ideas, you can just mix and match and just like create your characters, create these relationships and stuff, and then like your society is as well. So I took those ideas, and like with my orcs, I went and created a society with different sets of norms. So with different sets of norms, created a different standard of what queer is. So with my orcs, I their normal is they are monogamous hermaphrodites, which means that they are simultaneously male and female. So within their language, they do not have gendered pronouns, because why would they have them? They don't have males and females. Well, technically. And they are aromantic as well. So if they are aromantic, what does their family unit look like? So, and in terms of sexuality, I made them phrasexual. So they are sexually attracted to strangers, but as soon as they develop an emotional bond with them, they lose that attraction. So for my orcs, from their perspective, having sex with a friend would be akin to incest, because a friend is like family. So how would the extreme views of the elders would be like, what the hell are you doing? That's just wrong. This is someone from your village that is messed up, or that is someone from your horde that is messed up. And yeah, like if they don't have romantic attraction, they don't have marriages. So instead of having political marriages, they have political adoptions. So just because I created this alien biology, I created an alien culture, different standards of what normal is, and like you can play around and do all sorts of things with cultures and species or whatever you're working with. So don't just take what our normal is and just impose that on on everything else. So you can really create something unique within your world. So
if you haven't already, I highly encourage you to read Ursula K. Le Guin. Are you familiar with her?
I am aware of the name, not the work.
Okay. So a lot of the points that we've really been talking about on this episode are prominent in her series. She mostly writes like sci-fi on different planets where there are different cultures with different humanoid species that are very different in how they procreate. The most notable one that I can think of right now is The Left Hand of Darkness, where it is very similar to what you're talking about with your orcs, where they have a neutral singular gender for their race, and then when it comes to procreating, they temporarily take on a slightly different male or female to couple, create new offspring, and then back to neutral. But there are many stories that she has written where she explores just different aspects of society when it comes from like liberty to sexuality to relationships. And just based on everything that we've been talking about this evening, I think you'd be very interested in her writings. I highly encourage you to check them out.
Yeah, well, give it a go.
Excellent. Kenneth, we are running out of time for this episode, but I have learned so much new vocabulary and a lot into a peek into a world that I'm not familiar with, and maybe we've shared it with a lot of people. Thank you so much for coming onto the show tonight. Really appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Of course. And folks, until next time, let's be author adjacent together. Catch you later. Kenneth, that was a lot. That was great. That was a lot.
Yeah.